every single person has to do what they do to make the world work. And nobody is more important. What would we do without the hairstylists? Well, I know what I would do because I've never been to one, but obviously. No. But really, these people, and sometimes we treat people like they're just this or they're just that. But everybody has to do their Dharma because we all need each other. And our job is to respect that person's Dharma. And now I'm going to introduce somebody who I really, really respect. I met this person 1 year ago, and I was so blown away by who this woman was. And you know, and I thought it was courage, and she says, no, it's not courage, it's who I am. And it was just so mind-blowing to me how she knew who she was and what her Dharma was. And a year ago, almost exactly to the date, we said, the 10 of us, I had a small group last year, it was 10 people, we said, you gotta write a book. Now, how many people have said they're gonna write a book? Okay. Now put your hands down if you haven't done it yet. Okay, oh, one person did. Okay, so this person, we said, you should write a book. And a year later, she has a #1 international best-selling book. And that is Kathryn! Kathryn, and can I have a copy of her book? I'm gonna hold it up for everybody. I hope she has some left. They're going to be for sale, on sale. So here is our own Kathryn Johnson, beautiful, radiant angel, who I love. Thank you, Deborah. And her book is called The Joy of Obstacles, Celebrating the Silver Lining in Difficult Days. So it's everything that we've talked about today, endorsed by Deborah Poneman. And if you have to jockey your chairs around to be able to see Kathryn, feel free to do that. Because she's so beautiful, you want to look at her. And just hear her voice. So if you need to move your chairs around. Do you need your book or just?
That's it. I think it can stay there.
It can stay there.
Okay, it's great to be here.
Wait, hold on. Let's get out of the frame so that. Wait, hold on. Now you can say it's great to be here.
Yeah, no.
Wait, hold on, not yet. Tracy's in the frame. Huh?
Yeah, the mic's on. Yep.
Okay.
And we got a thumb up. Yep.
Okay. Wow, as Deborah said, it's amazing to be here almost a year after I met one of my mentors, Deborah, in her living room. I thought, oh my God, I'm in Deborah's living room with all these successful people. Oh my God, I was just blown away. And here I am a year later. It's unreal. So I wanted to talk to you today about the journey of me writing my book. And I believe actually everything I've ever done has brought me to today. We don't have that much time, so I'm going to start when I was 12. And I was off from school watching Oprah. And personal growth was just new to the mainstream at that time. And what Oprah said was, life is not a dress rehearsal. Live your best life. And by the end of that show, I knew that I was on the planet to really make my mark. Everybody's special, but I really knew that I really had something that was going to affect thousands of people. Life is not a dress rehearsal. Live your best life. Those are words I live by today, even. So shortly after that, I began competing in track for physically disabled and adaptive sports, track and field. I competed for 7 years. For 5 years, I competed for my province in Canada. And 2 years, I had the privilege of representing Team Canada. I've raced in England and also in Germany. And I really, really wanted to go to the Olympics. That was the other thing. Since I was 7 years old, I was so inspired by Olympians. My God, I wanted to be an Olympian because it was their pursuit of excellence and their sportsmanship and their compassion for each other that really motivated me, because I wanted to live my best life, right? And I thought, oh, this is it. This is my thing. So in 1994, I went to Germany to represent Team Canada. Wow. And as I was there, I looked around and I noticed that there was nobody in the stands, which is very understandable because adaptive sports at that time was in its infancy, so it really didn't have a lot of PR like it does today. And I thought, this is great. This is great. I have 100 medals from all these meets that I've been at, and I've done so much, met amazing people. And I thought, but what's the point? What is the point? Because I can always get faster. If I get 1 gold medal, I can get 2. If I get the world record, then I can even beat the world record the year after. I'm never going to be happy. And life was just pulling me in different directions. My training schedule was very demanding. I was training 6 days a week, doing racing and weightlifting training. And so there's a lot of personal sacrifices that I made during that time, and I thought, for what? So I can get another medal? So after Germany, I decided to hang up my racing career. And it was really, really a tough thing because I knew my body wasn't mature, and I knew if I kept training, I would get to the Olympics and I would get that gold medal. But it didn't matter anymore. I was missing out on too many other things. So with that, I decided to continue my education. At this time, I had my arts degree, major in psychology, and I decided to continue my education with a business administration diploma at community college, followed by yet another business designation. I also am a professional accountant. So I have all this schooling. And I thought, oh my God, am I ever going to get to the world of work? So I had many jobs in accounting, and around about 2005, life again pulled me in a different direction. I'm born in Winnipeg, Canada, which is north of North Dakota, and I just wanted something more once again, and I gave up everything I ever known. My whole family was in Winnipeg. I'd never lived anywhere else before, and I just left because I had this pull. I had this pull to go to Vancouver. I don't know why. Didn't make any sense. I didn't know anybody there. I was competing often, and we would go to British Columbia for different meets because they had a lot of meets in that area of the country, and I loved it there. So in 2005, I packed up and I left for something different. Had no idea why. Until I got there. I discovered a couple years later personal growth, the world of personal growth, another passion of mine. And I have taken probably 10 years worth of seminars at least, and just continued with accounting jobs along the way. Almost all of my jobs that I've had have resulted in a layoff within 2 years of taking that job. So one layoff after another, after another, after another. Until my most recent job, I started in 2009. My most recent job for a service company. Started as accounting manager. Worked my way up, worked there for 8 years. I'd never done anything for 8 years except for school at this time. Worked there for 8 years, made my way up to senior vice president of finance. Wow. I was making 6 figures, and I thought, wow, this is pretty good. I've got flex time. I can do my personal growth that I love doing. And yet, once again, it just, the company was in the middle of a restructure, and I knew it was time to go. I knew it was time to go yet again. And it was really tough. I really struggled. As much as I had known how when you're called to let go, this was really tough because these people were like my family. 8 years with the same people, and I'm going to leave, and I don't know where I'm going. But I did it. And just to make sure, the universe gave me a test. I was part of my plan when I was leaving my job was to go to California in May, and I was to finish out my 6 weeks notice in California. And while I was working my notice in California, my boss called me up and he said, I don't want to do this anymore. Do you want my job? I'll double your salary.
Whoa.
And I thought, absolutely not. I just went inside and I got really, really quiet and I thought, absolutely not. I am not staying here. This place is killing me. As much as I love the work that I do and the technical aspects of what I do, my heart and my spirit are shrinking. So I stuck with my heart and I left last July. And I continued to stay in California. I have tons of friends out there and take a bunch of courses and all that thing. And capped off my trip to California with Deborah's retreat in October, where she said, of course, the intention was set that I would write a book. And I thought, wow, that's pretty amazing that I'm going to write this book. I always had this inkling, that I had something to tell the world, but my life was so much about structure. How can I go from that to somebody who's written a best-selling book and somebody who's speaking? It just didn't make sense. I didn't see myself in that role. And really being with Deborah last year in her living room at the retreat was so transformational because of the support of the people in the room. It's a rare thing for me to get support from those types of people. I've had lots of support from the business community, but never the big dreamers, at least not directly, right? So after I left the retreat in October, I went home and did some more soul searching. And I decided to kind of just think on things until about Christmas. And then in January, I just thought, I got to write this book. I don't know how. It's scary because I know it's going to change my life. And do I really want it? Do I really want to change my life? I'm comfortable. I'm a good accountant. It's what I've been conditioned to do since I was 5 years old. My dad's an accountant. Tons of people in my family are accountants. Do I really want this life with this book and speaking and whatever else the universe has in store? And I thought, even though I can't see the path right now, it is going to be the biggest waste of my life, my special something, who I am inside my heart, if I don't do this. At the end of my life, if I'm on the other side reviewing my life, and they say, Kathryn, here's what you could have done, but you didn't because you were comfortable. I couldn't live with that. I absolutely couldn't live with that. And I also knew that because this thing was something that was designed by myself and the God of my understanding, that the only result would be love. It has to be that way. Because otherwise it's not your Dharma, right? So with that, I started writing my book in January. Everything was perfect. My coach had the perfect mentor for me to help write my book, and that was going on. But I had the hardest time keeping focused with it and pushing through, because not only did I have to write my book, which was a challenge, I had to relive all the things that I let go and all the things in my life up to that point that I was writing about. And it's incredible. I've written about things around early childhood, my job situation, all my schooling, lots of different things. I had to relive those things. And so that's a challenge. And then again, this feeling of like, if I finish this book, my life is going to change. Like, yikes. It really was scary. So in April, just to make sure I was listening, I was at yet another workshop in Northern California. And it was like any other morning. I sat down for breakfast with the group, and for some reason I sat at the back of the room, which I don't normally do, but I sat sort of out of the way, and I started to choke, like really choke. I could not breathe, barely breathe. I wasn't blue, but I could barely speak, and something was really stuck. Kiwi fruit, I think. And it just slipped down my throat, no warning. I could not breathe. And this workshop where I was is actually up on top of a mountain in Northern California, and the closest hospital is Santa Rosa, which is an hour away. I knew that if I was going to see another day, I had to cough like I've never coughed in my entire life. So I called on those people that work with me, and I said, I need your help now. And I was not asking. This was not a request. This was very serious. And in about a minute and a half, whatever was stuck came up, and I could move forward. And the only thing I thought of at that time was my book and my speaking career that had yet to blossom. You would think that I would be thinking about my family. No. My family, my home, my stuff that was undone at home, no, none of that. All I could think of was my book and all that would be lost for the world if I didn't finish it. And so, I managed to get whatever was in my throat out of my throat. And that wasn't it, because for the rest of the day, I couldn't swallow water. There was still some kind of blockage. I think I had a spasm in my esophagus. Nobody knows. Anyways, I ended up going to the hospital in Santa Rosa. That's how serious this was. They took my blood pressure, and taking my blood pressure, that released whatever was going on internally. It shifted everything. I'm totally fine. I had no warning that that was going to happen. And I had to just call on the people working with me and rely on my team at my workshop to support me that day because I really needed help. And when I came back from the hospital, the people in the workshop welcomed me back with nothing but love and support and a big round of applause. And I never felt so loved. It was amazing. I finally felt that it was okay to ask for help. It was okay to need support. I didn't have to do it all myself. And this time I really couldn't. So with that, after April, I went home and I basically have done nothing but work on my book ever since. It was published, the ebook was published August 8th. A month later, the paperback came out September 12th. And a month after that, I'm here. And all, thank you. And one thing I also wanted to say was I've noticed with this journey, you want to live your Dharma, it's not about acquiring things, which Deborah mentioned earlier in the week. I realized how many things I had to let go of. Let go of my sports, let go of my original home in Winnipeg, let go of all my jobs, let go of even my accounting career. I haven't worked in accounting for 15 months. My sole focus has been my book and marketing my book and doing heart-centered things around personal growth. So it's when we let go that we really become who we are. It's not about the titles. I'm going to finish up with a couple of quotes. My fellow Canadian Michael J. Fox said, I believe personally, I believe purpose is something we are personally responsible for. It is not divinely assigned. It is not just divinely assigned. I believe purpose is something we are personally responsible for. It is not merely divinely assigned. And also Oprah. I found this the perfect day when I was writing this. It came across my desk. She said, step out of the history that is holding you back. Step into the story that you are willing to create.
Whoa.
I'll leave you with that. I'm just going to repeat what Oprah said. She said, step out of the history that is holding you back and step into the new story you are willing to create. Incredibly inspiring. And if anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer anything at all.
There's a question here, Irene.
And Sue, I think Sue was first.
Yeah. Sue Shalley.
No. Sure.
Wait, microphone.
Okay, sorry, again. I hope this isn't too personal, and if it is, you'll tell me.
Mm-hmm.
But what happened to you? Why do you walk with braces?
Why do I? Well, that's interesting. I have something called cerebral palsy, which is brain damage as the result of birth. And it's due to lack of oxygen into the brain during birth. So basically what happens is the messages that go from my brain to my muscles, the wires are crossed. And I look kind of awkward, but everything moves and there's no pain involved. It's not degenerative. It's just things are not clear.
Thank you for telling us.
You're welcome.
I appreciate that.
One more question over here.
What sport or sports were you involved in?
Besides running.
I used to do wheelchair track. So anything from 100 meters to 800 meters. I also did shot put discus. I have the Canadian record for women's javelin for my class.
Oh,
Yeah, I did a lot of stuff. I've also done road racing up to 10 kilometers, I think. 5 or 10 kilometers. Thanks.
2 more.
What was your daily writing process? What is your daily writing process, as you kept working on it?
I'm not quite sure what you meant by that.
Like when you sat down to write, how did you get going, or did you just write spontaneously, or did you plan, or?
Well, I started with an outline. And then based on the outline, I just sort of picked a section that was inspiring at that time. I took a course. The first step I did was to take a course because I knew, okay, I'm going to write this book. And I had enough business sense to know there's got to be a formula somewhere. You can't just sort of sit down and write once upon a time and at the end write the end and have a best-selling book. So I thought, okay, somebody's got to teach me how to write this book because I don't know how to do that. So I found a fabulous mentor. And he gave me the formula, and I went from there. Basically started with an outline.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Would you share who the mentor?
It's Jeff Affleck. He works. He's in Victoria, BC. He has clients from all over the world.
And we'll give you his contact information, Tracy's brother-in-law. We keep it in the family here. We'll give you Jeff's, so we'll have it up. Can you put it up on the board? He gives a course. He either you could take his course online, which is only like maybe $197, all the way up to personal mentoring. And I think you did the personal.
Yeah, I did 3 sessions.
And he's really good.
Yeah, really. And Jeff also does marketing services. He's done my website as well. Anybody who's seen my website, inspiredbykathryn.com. That is Jeff's fabulous work. I wrote the copy, gave him some pictures, and it turned into the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. So that's just special beyond belief.
Hi,
Anything
Kathryn.
else?
One thing you were saying when you were when you competed and
Yes.
the stadium was empty,
Yes.
and you felt like, why would I even bother with this? Do you now, in this position, do you now see yourself going and creating that awareness? Because I know what that's like in from what I've seen in the sport.
I think the sport now has transformed. It's 20 years later, and there's quite a bit more publicity. I know there's a lot of advertising for athletes, just like any other athletes. We have TV coverage now, which we never used to have. It was even this year, I remember talking to my coach, Valentina, and saying, I should have kept going with my sports. I just feel like I didn't finish. I feel unfinished. And it wasn't until I saw my pictures on my website in connection with what I'm doing now that it's like, okay, I'm finished. I get it. I get how it's connected. So, yeah. It's interesting how everything's all connected. Is there anything?
One more. Oh,
You said earlier that this book would change your life and everything would change. What's been the most profound change that you found from writing a book?
Well, I think the best is yet to come. For me, it is absolutely living with a sense of creativity, spontaneity. I don't need structure anywhere near the way I used to. I just know it's going to be okay, and I just follow the moment as it sort of unfolds. And I'm really glad that you brought that up, because there's a little something that I didn't mention that I wanted to mention. And that was preparing for this speech. And I normally wouldn't tell my audience how I prepared for a speech, but I think this group is pretty special, and considering what we're talking about today, I think it fits. So this is a pretty special day for me, that I get to sit here and speak to you guys. And I took it pretty seriously. And so, of course, like any other business person, I want to be prepared. And I thought, okay, a month ahead of time I'll start. Things got in the way, didn't happen. Okay, week ahead of time. Okay, I got to get the, like, sit down and get this speech done, right? And Saturday or Sunday, this past weekend, so a week ago, I had written my speech. It was all typed out, and I started to read it back and practice it. And I felt sick in my stomach. I got that feeling like, uh-oh, this is not right. And I thought, you've got to be kidding me. But I just knew that this was the wrong speech. And I thought, there's absolutely no way that I can sit here as an example for what Deborah has taught and give the speech that I've just spent months thinking about and days writing about. So I went inside to my guidance, and I said, what do I do? And they kept changing it. They made it impossible for me to practice. They said, speak from the heart, write some key points, and write down the why of the key points. And that's it. And let go. So to me, again, as I said, this whole journey has been about letting go. And even right down to writing this speech right this second, letting go. So thank you for asking me that.
Let us give it up for Kathryn.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. And she's going to be in the back of the room autographing her books. And I closed her and giving us a few dollars off. And and I just want to say, before you walk away, I am a connoisseur of fine speakers. I've been teaching speaking now for, 30 years. That was not only content that was exquisite, but your delivery was impeccable. You are on your way. Am I right? You're natural. All right. So one. Pardon? Yeah, TED Talk. Didn't we say TED Talk? Remember when we were? Were any of you ladies in Kathryn's group when we had 10? Susan. Right. So you were in the different group. Trace, you were there.
May I say just one thing? I honestly, and I think Kathryn and I talked about this since Thursday night, I feel like I was sort of like picked to be able to represent the group, bear witness to this. It is such a holy moment. I was there a year ago when this was first created, and when we saw this light in her, and we knew that this was her Dharma, this is what she was supposed to do. And she stepped so bravely into it. And here you are a year later. I feel such awe and honor and gratitude to be your dear friend and to hold and bear witness for the group that held you in our hearts in such light a year ago. Oh my God, sweet friend, you are just incredible. I love you.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you,
Congratulations. The joy of obstacles. Is that the most incredible? You know, it's just like when Simon said, I never think I'm going to be impressed or amazed, and he said that to Mandy, and then you show up. I thought I would never be impressed and amazed again, and then Kathryn shows up. And she is such a hero to me. And so a few announcements, and then we're going to be back in an hour and a half, so 2:15, lunch is in the Victoria Room, and take time to be in nature, take a walk down the spit, whatever you want to do, rest in your room, and buy raffle tickets. And,
What was the time?
we're going to be back at 2:15, and I know what else, and thank you to Jill for our gift today. Apparently you wrote, this is a book that you wrote.
Yeah, that's right. It's number one on Amazon, Metaphysical and Visionary and International Fire Literary.
Say that again, say that louder. Number one on Amazon in Metaphysical and Visionary. And here is a bookmark about the book and a beautiful pen. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
It's just
Great for
gorgeous.
writing.
Yeah. The pen is great for writing. All right, and I think that's it. Be back, and I'm trying.